cat sitting on me. This is Salem, um, also known as Satan Kitty. He wants his morning lovin's, and I'm kind of, yeah, I'm in the way. So as you guys can see, this is this is the cat here trying to get attention from me. She will kick Sam out of the room, or he will kick Sam out of the room so that he can have me to himself and I can pet him. And then he'll let Sam back in the room. Sam and Salem, not only do they both adore me because, Salem, he needs his lovin's, but so does Sam. And the two of them are trying to get along, and they're finally starting to get along, which is kind of nice. So if you guys see, again, Salem, you are now YouTube famous. You are now a cat that's been on YouTube. All right. But anyway, so I want to give my thoughts on the shutdown real quick. I've got to go to work in a couple of hours, but I'm going to start trying to do more live streams in the morning instead of trying to wait till the evening because I'm fresher and have more time. You guys can catch it in the afterplay. Go for it, but at least as far as the way things, if I'm going to start doing regular live streams, I got to do them in the morning because I've been up since 5 a.m. And as you can see, there's my pack and all my stuff. We've been, getting gear ready and stuff like that. So, there's a lot of different things that are going on, but I want to give my thoughts on the government shutdown real quick. So the government shutdown, like the first one we had was in the mid 90s, I believe. I think it was like 95. Yeah, it was part of what got the budget balanced. But at the same time, what was the cause and effect of what did it do to our wealthy elite? What kind of signals did we send across the world? Because what made the United States the world reserve currency, because my grandfather, who, he explained this to me, is like, yeah, when a new king comes into power or a new dictator or a new ruler, they immediately get rid of all of the old money, issue new money, and you've got to go in there and exchange your money. So there's no stability of currency in most nations. So the fact that the United States can have a peaceful exchange of power and the currency still remains stable. There's no reissuances. There's no, it still keeps going. That is what makes the dollar as powerful as it is because we can have a peaceful exchange of power and still keep our currency. Well, in the mid 90s, we started, seeing a crack in that foundation. There's really not that much of the dam left essentially, but like had that stability, and as soon as like we had our first debt ceiling debate, as soon as we had our first government shutdown, um, all the wealthy elite, they said, okay, the United States is no longer able to hey, what's up, Christopher? The United States is no longer able to pay its debts. Is now people have the ability, or they have the they have the ability to question whether or not the United States is actually going to be viable in the way in which it pays its debts. Because if a government gets shut down, that means people get furloughed. That means people get shut off. That means the government shuts down. That means there's a possibility it cannot pay its debts, and there may be a civil unrest or an unpeaceful exchange of power. And so every time we have a government shutdown, the people that have money that invest in the United States, the people that all the foreign currency that we bring here, plus not only the wealth class that we've created here, they take notice of that. You and me, we don't really understand it. Um, but for them, this is a big deal. So we have now been shut down for 2 weeks. I think this may be the longest government shutdown we've ever had, and it may go on for 6 weeks to 2 or 3 months. This may go all the way up until first of the year. And for you and me, the average Joe, I work at a small business. I don't work for the government. So the thing for the government employees is the way it's worked into the contract is if is if the government, lays them off, doesn't pay them or whatever, that once the government starts back up, they owe them all that back pay. So it becomes more like a paid vacation. And if you're getting a government check, like let's say Social Security, this isn't going to affect you right now. But if it goes on a month or 3 months, a lot of people are going to be squeezed. And so what that means is a lot of those government employees do or did in like 2008, when the economy kind of crashed, everybody went into the private sector. By going into the private sector, now that's oversaturates it, drives wages down, and with everything going up, it's just going to make everything even worse. And the ripple effects from something like this may take months to years for it to finally balance out, because of like how, you know it, my grandfather, who was a World War II vet, once explained it to me this way. He says, like, if a president does a policy today, it will take 4 years before we actually get to see the fruits of what it is that they propose. So it takes so long for it to make its way through, for everybody to be affected, for them to see whether, oh, was this good or was this bad. And so we could see 4 to 10 years of just complete. This could be something that completely decimates the global economy as far as the Western world, down to a point where we become the new third world countries. And, the East, such as Russia and China, who've been, as we've been doing stupid stuff to them by, cutting them off, by confiscating their oligarchs' money, by doing those different things, what we've done is we've now forced them to untangle. So when the West falls apart, it's only going to be the West which allows the East to rise up. So, uh, I mean, that's just the if you look at the grander picture of cause and effect and how this is going to go. Now, my thoughts aren't fully formed on this. I've been thinking about this for a while. It's something I wanted to kind of bring to you guys and see what you guys thought. But yeah, Lightning, my grandfather is a World War II veteran. One of them was. The other one was a Vietnam veteran. The My grandfather, that was a World War II veteran, was a refrigerator repair mechanic on a destroyer in the Pacific Fleet the last 6 months of World War II. So I mean, yeah, he got in. No, he passed away. God, I'm like almost 15, 20 years ago. Yeah, yeah, he lived to about almost 90 years old. So yeah, I'm not young, and one side of the family, I'm kind of at the bottom of the grandchildren. On the other side of the family, I'm the oldest. Um, Not much. Hey, good to see you, Bear. I've been meaning to send you a message. I have been just kind of all over the place. Like I said, I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning. Been getting some stuff done, and then I got to go off to work. And then tonight I have my first class at Planet Sub. So we're gonna see if that goes off, if that goes well. Um, well, he had a long life, Lightning, but. Mm. Anyways, Bear, my friends that were coming down from Michigan should be down there. I heard through the grapevine that they're on their way down there now, or in the next week or two. So you may end up seeing them. They're gonna come over to my trailer. I got something in my trailer that's there for them. So if you see them up there, it's my friend Clyde and his wife. So, uh, yeah, I'm. What do you mean I'm on America? But anyways, that's just kind of what's going on. But I wanted to share my personal thoughts. See what you guys thought. Do you guys think that this is going to be something that is going to have long-term negative effects? Do you think we might finally get a balanced budget, or is this a political power play by one or either party? And what is what is the power play that's being played there? Like, really, what is the power play? Um, by either party. Because if you're saying this is a power play by the Democrats, what do they look to gain? If you're saying this is a power play by the Republicans, what do they look to gain? If you think this is a power play by the elites and the globalists, what do they have to gain? What do you think the long term cause and effects is? Cow stepping out, but hasn't happened yet. Yeah, no, the cows don't come that close. They generally stay like on the other side of the trailer, towards the back of the property, and then they go down that back slope. That's generally where they go, like towards the back corner of the property on the other side of the trailer, or they will go down the road and down that little cow trail. So, um, yeah, but yeah, my solar panels. If you need to use them, Bear, or if Clyde needs to use them, you guys can use them and my battery until I get back. It's if you guys need to use it, just like when I come back, I may say, hey, you guys got my solar panel, but it's gonna be at least a year or two before I can make it back because I've got to spend. I've spent about. I'm getting close to $600 I've put out just for like marketing, advertising, and all the startup expenses for the business. Um, um, so I mean, I'm kind of dug into this. It's a little bit harder for me to just like pack up and walk away. Because I've made so many commitments. I mean, I'm waiting. At the end of the month, I'll get approved by the local chamber of commerce, which I have an application in with them. I also have. I'm working with other organizations that will allow me to come in there and piggyback off of them. So, um, I'm in my mid 40s, Lightning. So, hmm. But anyways, that's what's going on, guys. Just wanted to give you a quick touch up. Hey, just so you guys know, this channel is sponsored by Stephanie at openairproperties.net. If for any situation you or for if by any chance you're looking to buy some off-grid land, so my friend Bear you see here, he's one of my neighbors. Stephanie has property in Arizona, Arkansas, and Colorado. I've got a friend that bought some property in Arkansas, some that have gotten some property in Arizona, and I'm sure there's going to be some of y'all that'll get some property in Colorado. But if you are looking for an honest and ethical person to do business with, go check out Stephanie at openairproperties.net. If you use the promo code Friar Tuck when you send her the contact form, you'll get $50 off of your deposit. Just let her know that Friar Tuck sent you. For the rest of you guys, thank you for being here. I will try and be on a lot more often than I am. I will try and be on a lot more often than I am. I'm just trying to redo my schedule. I think I'm going to start doing mornings because I'm a morning person. By the time I get off work, because I run my ass off there, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to I'm using the job. I move really fast back and forth. I'm probably walking at about 4 miles an hour now. So pretty much somebody's slow jog is what my walk is. And so I got to keep that up so that because I do want to get out on trail. I'm either going to do the AT this spring or I'm going to do the ADT, the American Discovery Trail, because that benefits what I'm doing here. So I'm not 100% sure, but like this summer, I'm gonna be doing some sort of trail. So if you want to follow the trail stuff that I do, and we're gonna be talking a little bit more about survivalism, because here's the reality, and I looked into this. Like, if a civil war were to break out, think about this. If a civil war were to break out, would it be safer to be on trail or would it be safer to be in a city? Well, in the beginning, it would be safer to be in a city because you got resources, you got news, you got all that other stuff. You've got a local network of people. But as it goes, as tension escalate, let's say 2, 3, 4, 6 months later, you're going to want to be on trail because you're going to want to be able to navigate the country, get to a different place, get to safer areas, get to areas that align more with your ideology, things along those lines. So you're going to want to travel at some point. The likelihood that we're going to have a kinetic civil war, if things keep escalating the way they do, are um, are going to push going to push you to this point in one way or another. So, Superloop, are you far right or far left? I'm a farting. That's funny. Um, no, actually, I'm neither. My influences are like Thomas Paine, and Andrew Jackson. Those are my influences. Those are the people that I follow. So neither of those. But anyways, I see that you're gonna have to, but in order to be out on trail, you got to learn some bushcraft. Um, you've got to be able to learn a little bit of bushcraft skills just to be able to survive out on trail. But there's also a prediction. You guys know I follow Billy Meyer. There's also a prediction that there's going to come a time when there's a famine, and everybody is going to run to the woods. And by the time we get there, like there's only maybe 3 days or 4 days worth of meat in the woods if we were to go hunt it all in one sitting. That's what the estimate is. It may be maybe a week, but still, after a week, then you've got things like cannibalism. Because if you've heard the stories about the people on the AT, they during World War II, they saw the famine and they saw the war, so they went into the woods and they built their own commune, but they probably didn't have a good way of procuring food, and then they turned into cannibals. And after World War II, they had to send in, I think, the 82nd Airborne, or they sent in a ranger unit. And when the ranger unit came back, they refused to talk about what had actually happened. But there's stories about like how horrified the guys looked when they came back. This is what happened then is going to happen at a grander scale, just because of how we are so dependent on the farm to market just in time delivery. We're more worried about getting food from China than keeping it in our local area. I'm lucky here because all of the food that is in the grocery store comes from within 100 miles of me, but I'm also in the breadbasket. So I'm in one of the more prime places like to survive if I needed to rely on commerce and things like that. But then that means you set up a completely different infrastructure. But this is what I think. This is what I this is what I'm curious about to see kind of like how this plays out. But these are my thoughts on cause and effect, and how this may end up playing out long term. But you guys let me know what you think, okay? But I'm gonna go ahead and end this because I gotta finish getting ready for work. I gotta get a shower. As you guys see, I went and got my beard trimmed yesterday. Yesterday was payday, and I'm like, dude, my beard looks really bad. So I went to the barber, and he did a dang good job. So he's a small town barber too, so it's pretty cool. But all right, guys, thanks for being here, and I will see you the next time I do a live